An excuse is a well-planned lie you tell yourself. Jefferson Santos. DZ Tribe, Josh Thomas. If you haven't already, check out the dozone.com for productivity tips, accountability, and a bunch of really cool people taking action, getting stuff done. Also, want to recommend, if you haven't yet, to subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss any future episodes. Give me a review. I love 5 stars. If you got less than 5 stars, that's okay. But I really do love 5 stars. Written review. Tell me what you like about the show. Write in if you have any guests or topics that you would like to see in the future. And I want to introduce you, speaking of guests, I want to introduce you to today's guest. Today's guest is Daniel Felt. He is the founder and CEO of Cura Home. Since starting in 2016, Cura Home has grown from Daniel's garage to now servicing Denver, Colorado, and the greater Minneapolis area. What's up, Daniel? Say hello to the tribe and tell us something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Josh. For me, I have a lot of people that hold me accountable. I've got a business coach. I've got all that stuff. But the truth of it is that if you're not writing down your goals and then sharing those with the people, your center of influence, it's really, really important. So I think it's really a mindset thing. I think of it as like a Christmas card. If you're going to send a Christmas card out and it doesn't say that you're doing something really cool or you didn't achieve one of your goals, that comes up pretty quick every single year. So whatever it takes to keep that motivation to get your goals done, but sharing it with people, and people are going to hold you accountable and they're going to tear you down if you don't do it. My examples, I meet my 2 people at the gym at 5:15 in the mornings. And if I don't show up, I get harassed all day long via text message. So having people hold you accountable and letting them know your goals, super important.
I love it. Yeah. I very recently started doing that myself. I don't get there at 5:15, but I do get there at 6. And, most people, like the super early risers, are like 6, man, I've already had my second breakfast by then. But for me, I've always been that super late riser kind of guy, night owl, those sorts of things. And as I got more focused as an entrepreneur, I realized, man, I don't have time for that. Mm-hmm. How much productive time is just whizzing by because I'm asleep. And so the only way that I was able to do this, I knew I had to take care of myself physically. And the only way I was ever able to start doing it is I had a friend of mine that was like, man, I really need to get back into the gym.
Right.
Like, how about 6 o'clock tomorrow? And 5 days a week, man, we're there. 6 o'clock, we never miss. Because if I don't show up, then I know she's going to be standing there wondering why I'm not there. And that's why I do it.
That's so crucial. And if you don't have that person, one thing that I've also found that I do is a phone call to someone on your way. Like, hey, I'm going to call you. So it takes me 10 minutes to get to the gym. And I know it takes me 7 minutes to get out the door. So my alarm goes off at 4:58 a.m. every day, which is, but every minute counts, right? So, but I've had people that say like, hey, I want to be working out at 5:15 too. Like, how can I do that? It's like, well, I'll call you. And if you don't answer, I'll harass you all day long. So I'll call them on the way to the gym even, right? Because I'm not doing anything else. And so, yeah, whatever it takes, maybe it's not someone to get you there, but even just to make that phone call, finding accountability is really crucial.
So basically you're looking for somebody to legally harass you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, exactly. Let's be crazy together. And yeah, legal harassment. I mean, they asked for it, right? And yeah, if you tell me you're going to do something and then I see you like a month later and you're not like taking steps to do that, I'm going to be like, what? Come on. Like, you're better than that. So yeah, motivating the people around you, it's really fun. And yeah, sometimes that takes harassment, but that's all right.
Yeah. Don't come to me a second time with the same problem.
Exactly.
Solve it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, man. And so, let's kind of dig in a little bit. Talk to me about your kind of entrepreneurial journey. How did you get started as a business owner, and what are some of the challenges that you were able to overcome, specifically regarding taking action? And I that's kind of what the Do Zone is all about. It's about doing. Right. And what were some actions that you really had to take in order to launch your career into where it is?
For sure. In my entire career, I grew up in an entrepreneurship family, which really gave me a lot of confidence, because now it's like entrepreneurs are nuts, right? Like we're all crazy together, and that's perfect that we can all be in this circle. But I watched my family grow from, we lived off my dad's paycheck, like the paycheck come in on Friday, we go to town and cash it and buy groceries. I mean, like nothing. And grew up, now my parents run a really awesome, successful business. But I was always doing little like side hustle stuff. I grew up on a farm. I trained a horse for people when I was like 11 for like $300. I remember like always just kind of doing little things. But I went to school, studied business marketing. I was on the side, I was training and boarding dogs. My parents, they breed golden retrievers. That's their business. And so I was in the metropolitan area. So I was training and boarding dogs for people. And then I was renting out the base of my house at in my 23, 24. So I'm kind of like house hacking, trying to make side gig stuff.
You're not just in the do zone. You are the do zone, man.
Yeah, we're doing
You're doing
it, right?
all of the things. Like I think maybe you're doing too much. Like, don't do so much.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing, I think my favorite phrase that I think I heard in an audiobook is searching for actively passive income. Like passive income, I'd say, is like throw your money into like an S&P 500 and it's going to grow. You don't really have to do a lot with it. But like actively passive is like boarding dogs, where like you kind of have to let the dogs out, a few times a day, but like you're making money overnight by the dogs being there. Renting out the basement of your house, you're making money each month, and you don't have to like, yeah, sure, you have to like fix the garbage disposal here and there, but you're actively and passively making money by just being there. So I love actively passive income. And I was working, I had all that stuff going on, which was really fun. And I would use it, like I would train a dog for $700. And then when I was younger, I went on an airplane ride with someone, and I was like, hey, I think it's so awesome this guy's a pilot. And I saw all these pilots at like 55 years old, all these people going through like midlife crisis. I think my biggest thing is go back to the original statement of like, hey, what are you gonna write on your Christmas card this year? And I know no one really writes Christmas cards anymore, but like that's my mental thought process. And like, I'm just gonna do it now rather than waiting until I'm 55 and be like, oh, I really wish I would have done this earlier, because I've just seen so many people like life is cut short, or opportunities or things change. So was working for a company that my main job was create SOPs they sell 6 million chicken eggs a day. And so just creating standard operating procedures for all that. I was on the egg side, not the chicken side. So that was really fun.
Well, that's the right side of the debate. I mean,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
definitely the egg came before the chicken. I mean, that's obvious for everybody, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We could probably get in a pretty big debate about that, but
well, no, hang on a second. So I want to understand what kind of SOPs need to be put in place for pumping out 6 million eggs a day.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not on the production side, I'm on the processing side. So all these eggs are coming in on a huge conveyor, and they've got to be washed, sized, put into cartons, and the cartons need to go into a box. The box needs to go on a pallet. The pallet needs to go into the cooler. And then from there, it has to go on a semi. And when you're dealing with human food that's going to be consumed, there's just everything. And believe it or not, like even the egg cartons need to go into the box a certain way. So you have to turn them 90 degrees each time so that they're, being stacked properly. So there's so many little details that have to be followed. And you can imagine that, stacking eggs in a box people might not be around forever and make a life career about that. So there is higher turnover in like service-based industries, something like this. So we had to make sure that people could come in, know how to do this correctly right away, because you can't make a mistake. There's people from the USDA, all these different places, making sure that you're doing this correct. So everything and anything, how to wash an egg, how to make sure the machines are doing it correctly, make sure they're sized correctly, all these little processes to get that egg on your table for a very affordable rate, considering what goes into it, for $1.50, $2 for a dozen eggs is right. Quite impressive.
And so how many, I know this isn't a podcast about chicken, like animal processing plants. Yeah. I'm just morbidly curious about this. I mean, 6 million eggs is no joke. I don't know if I've ever even seen 6 million eggs in my lifetime. But
I haven't at the same moment, but I've seen millions flowing by, right? I mean, and I'm talking like a 4 foot wide, belt, and the eggs are, they're all in there. I mean, like if you like smack that thing, you're gonna smash like 7 or 8 eggs at once. There's so many. They're all different.
Sure that
sizes.
Nobody ever did that, right? No, just
only on a bad day. So
yeah, right.
But, yeah.
So how many chickens do you need? This sounds like the beginning of a really bad dad joke, but how many chickens do you need to process 6 million eggs a day?
Well, I think you'd have to do some math because the average chicken lays an egg every 25 hours, which, God could have made it every 24, but let's just make it confusing and complex and say it's every 25. So from there, you'd have to run the math. I know there's people at that company that know exactly the answer. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'd say roughly, I don't know, 1 they have different farms. So we probably need like 8 million.
chickens,
Yeah, 7.5. Yeah. It's a lot of chickens.
Wow. I had no idea. Like, fascinating. For our Do Zone tribe, I mean, you never know what gems we're going to get here. How to set up SOPs for egg processing. I'm going to add that. That's probably the most unique thing that we've ever talked about on this podcast. So
well, I'm honored. I'm honored to be that have that title. But from there,
so I sidetracked you, but so you've been doing all of these things. You were running SOPs for this animal processing plant for eggs. Pick back up.
Yeah. So there, my brother called me. He was running a home service company. They do window cleaning, holiday lights. It's like, hey, I need a general manager, and came with a few benefits like company truck and stuff like that. And I'm 24, so I'm like, well, this sounds awesome. So I started working for him, and we grew really fast. In 2 years, we went from 8 crews to 16 crews, and did a lot of really cool stuff in between, like franchises business. He never did sell franchise, but it was just really fun to bring like the skill set of the structure and the organization of SOPs into his business, and just watch what organization how much that can help a company grow. And in early 2016, the idea came up to start Cura Home, and we were talking about offering a maintenance, a program, and he, at the time, it just didn't seem to be a good fit, and he didn't think it would work. So I was looking at things and knowing that, hey, it probably costs a lot of money to start a company. And I had filed like an LLC for the dog business, and I had another LLC for my rental, just trying to keep things like as legal as possible and things like that. But I did a bunch of research, and I decided I was going to take a reverse equity line against my house. So I had an extra $32,000 to dip into if I needed to. And I bought a truck while I was still a W-2 employee for my brother, so I could get approved for that and finance that. And I gave him a kind of 4-month heads up that, hey, I'm going to start this. I did a bunch of research. There was a company that was doing it way like out in Washington, I think, but no one in the Minneapolis area was doing this service. And everyone who I talked to was like, this is the best idea I've ever heard of. You got to do it. I think like 1,000 people said that, but not a single one, unfortunately, said I'll sign up for it. So that kind of gets into more struggle down the road. But
that's one of those weird situations where, you'll get a lot of people like, yeah, man, that's awesome. That's great. And then you come back and you're like, all right, cool. I'll set it up. Are you ready?
Well, my neighbor would be a really good customer, I can do it for my customer, my neighbor. So,
and so what is it exactly though?
Yeah, we have 2 core services. One is super boring. It's air duct cleaning. That's about 50% of our business. And we have that service because people actually Google it and they're searching for it, and it's needed in their home. But the main concept that we've originally started was a routine home maintenance subscription for your home. So we visit our clients once every 3 months typically, and we offer up to 32 different services for your home, and everything's included: materials, labor, all that stuff. And it's like a janitor coming to your home. So we're changing your furnace filters, smoke alarm batteries, clean your AC unit, dryer vent, refrigerator coils. We're just doing everything that manufacturers recommend that you do in your home, but almost everyone neglects to do.
Yeah, like me. Yeah. I actually just bought a house in March. I'm in it right now. And I was traveling a lot at the time, and so I didn't have a whole lot of time here. And so I just brought all my stuff in, and I was gone. I was out of the country for a while, and I came back, and I never could kind of get like a footing. And I had to buy a bunch of new furniture and all this stuff. And then I realized like last month, I mean, it's been like a while. I realized that I never, ever since I moved in, I never changed the air filter in the air conditioner. And I went in there and I pulled the thing out, and I was like, oh, I'm breathing this.
That's awesome.
But it's one of those things where it's like, it's not the top of mind. I'm supposed to change it like once every 1 or 2 months or something. And I'm not putting that on my calendar. I got other shit to do,
Right.
So, yeah. And so I'm curious, and you can tell me a little bit more about, the mechanics of the business later, but I'm curious, what inspired you to take this kind of subscription model of home maintenance?
I think looking at my brother's company, and he's an awesome entrepreneur. I'm going to say he's more successful than I am, and he's the one who should be on this podcast. But I wanted something that would keep a technician or employee busy year round. And we didn't have something where in the summer, like pouring concrete or landscaping, for example, where, hey, we got to bust our butt for like 15-hour days, and then you're on unemployment. You're on unemployment for the winter. So looking at something that like people need. We're doing really good for your home. So it's, we're not like coming in and be like, oh, we'll change your furnace filter, but then if your furnace breaks down, like we'll replace it for you for $6,000 or whatever. It's everything's like we're coming in with your best interest in mind. So I loved really that concept of like that reoccurring subscription model of like we're coming in as a friend, and we're on the same team of, hey, we want to maintain your home for the health, the safety, and efficiency of your home. And growing up, I wanted to invent something originally, but it seems like I'm not creative enough. It seemed like everything had ever been invented, like, and I never like had a great bright idea for a better wrench or a new wheel. So starting that company seemed like the right fit for me at the time.
That's awesome, man. And so you're a fascinating dude. You talk fast and you do a lot of stuff. And what I would love to do right now is I'd love to just crack that skull open and see what's going on in your brain, see how it works. You ready for the Do Zone diagnostic?
I'm ready.
All right. Excellent. So just a series of 5 questions here, rapid fire. First thing that comes to mind. Number 1, what's one thing you do that keeps you focused on your goals?
I write them down. I have people hold me accountable, and I work on a 90-day schedule where it's got to be done. And that 90-day goals make it so that I'm achieving my 5, 3, and 1 year goals. So I write it down. I see it in the future, and I have people hold me accountable to get it done.
Nice. And how do you get back on track when you lose that focus?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit like we talked about before, I allow people to legally harass me. And sometimes it's really easy to get off the slump, but my alarm clock goes off at 4:58 every morning. And so it's a chance to reset every day. Maybe you're having a bad morning, reset at lunch, like reset, let's go. You're never going to get the day back ever. Don't waste today. Time is our most valuable asset. And if you're not, go get a cup of coffee, like drink some water, get energized, and use different intervals to reset. For me, the best one is morning, but like I said, you can reset at lunch, whatever you got to do. You're never going to get today back. Today is the day to take action and get it done.
You're never going to get today back. Today is the day to take action and get done. Love it.
Exactly.
Who's your support group and how do they keep you accountable?
I have an absolutely incredible family. I'm one of 5 kids, very competitive, friendly competition with my brother, but I'm also in a few networking groups with about 120 other business owners and salespeople that we share our goals, our struggles. And I do have a business coach as well. And I'm very, very open with people on what I want to get done. And then when I'm struggling, I ask a ton of people that have been there, done that. And I'm very vulnerable. I let people speak into my life. And when you ask for that advice and you're open and you don't act or pretend like you know it all, people want to help you. It's in their nature to want to help others around them. And so just being vulnerable and asking questions on how you can do better has really helped me.
Excellent. And how do you approach a difficult project that you're not sure how to complete?
I typically try to find someone in my network that it might know more about that than I do. Google is an incredible resource. There's like 12 plus a year's worth of data uploaded to that thing every single day. So researching, asking a ton of questions. And a lot of times it's just get started and start diving into it. I think a lot of times people worry about something so much and then they actually go and do it and it's way easier. It's like, why let this thing take pain from you 2 different times? One, you're worrying about it, then you're going through it. Just start going through it and you're gonna have a lot of answers, a lot of questions answered for you while you're going through that.
Yeah, well said. And last question, what's the number 1 pro tip that you would give to someone looking to get more stuff done in less time?
My favorite life hack is listening to audiobooks on fast speed. You don't have to start out crazy fast, but I actually got up to the point where I was listening to books on 2.0, but then I read a book that was too fast. And so I backed down. I typically listen to audiobooks between 1.5 and 1.7. My one and only goal this year was to listen to an audiobook a week. And so I'm on that. I think I'm on book 30 right now. And it has been just a wealth of knowledge. It's Windshield University. When you're driving around, you should not be listening to radio. Listen to audiobooks on fast speed and you're cheating time.
Windshield University. I like it. I've spent some time at Windshield University. I got a couple of degrees from there.
Yeah, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, that's cool. And so kind of coming back to, so it's Cura Home. So
Yeah, Cura, people call it whatever. It's a made up word.
Kura, Cura
Yep.
Home.
Yep.
Okay. And so I'm curious with a K, that, so this is all of the maintenance. So basically somebody comes and signs up and they pay you whatever the fee is. And on a regular schedule, there's a technician that comes by and says, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, we're here to change out your air filter and to clean out your vents and to, spray your bugs or whatever it is that you're doing." Is that kind of how it works, or walk me through it? I'm sure you'll do a better description than me.
Yeah, so the entire sales process or what that customer journey is you call us, we send out a qualified representative to come to your home and walk through, and we would just show you, hey, Josh, here's everything that I would maintain in your home if I were you. On the items that we have, which ones do you want us to? And that will give you all the cart pricing and all the cart options. From there, we're going to come, and there's some things that we do every single quarter, like changing the majority of the filters. There's things that only need to be done on an annual basis, like cleaning the AC unit, dryer vent, refrigerator coils, for example. So we have all that listed out. It's the price doesn't change, throughout, so it's the same price. So most people, our average client pays about $350 per quarter, but then they divide that into monthly payments. So it's cheaper than your cable bill to have us come each month, and we just keep, or each quarter, excuse me, and we just keep on doing that until you move or decide the service is no longer for you.
That's a great deal. About $100 a month, give or take.
Yep, exactly.
And I never have to think about it.
Yeah, your home maintenance is on autopilot, and we're just taking care of it for you.
Yeah, and that includes the change the filter. It includes the filter.
Yeah, filters, smoke alarm batteries, refrigerator filter. Here in Minnesota and some areas across country, we have softener salt that is needed. So yeah, it includes everything that you need.
That is really cool. And so you're expanding into new markets right now. Did I hear you right that you're franchising this?
Yep, for sure. So we've expanded into the Denver location. That's currently a corporate owned location, but we've had a ton of people just through hearing about our concept and that reoccurring revenue model, reaching out to us, asking if they could, pay us to train them, or can they come pay to hang out with me, which is, I never thought I'd be there at that spot in my life. That's right. I don't know. That's a humble brag there, but wanting to learn.
Brag.
Yeah. How can I pay you, a couple grand to spend a week with you to learn how to do this? And ultimately what seemed to be best is to offer the franchise model. So we started offering that. We're super excited. We've got people that are going through that process. It's a very complex process because there's a ton of legal stuff that needs to be done in order to buy and or sell a franchise. And so if you're interested in that, it's a really cool process to get into a proven model.
Awesome. And so who would be the ideal person to reach out and connect with you, and how would they do that?
Yeah, a lot of people that are looking at getting connected with us are either people that they're in their early 20s or mid 20s, and they're kind of like trying to figure out, who do I want to be when I grow up? And we have a lot of people that they've worked like a job for a long time. They're in their 40s and 50s, and they're looking at something that they can build and scale and a saleable asset. So they're looking to build this thing for 5 to 15 years and then sell it. So we're dealing with a lot of people in those. The absolute best way to connect with me personally is find me on LinkedIn, send me a message. Our website, curahome.com, has a ton of information, and we post a bunch of content on all of our social medias to try to educate people how to better maintain their home.
Excellent. I love that. So curahome.com, KURAHOME.com, curahome.com.
That's correct.
Very well. Daniel Felt, thank you so much for being on here and sharing this story and finally solving with 100% certainty the debate of whether the chicken or the egg came first.
It's an honor to be on here, Josh, and I'm glad to have that title.
That's right. Well, hey, we're going to wrap up from here. Thanks again to our guest, Daniel Felt, for joining us and sharing some wisdom on how he gets stuff done. To engage with him, you can find him on LinkedIn. His name is Daniel Felt, F-E-L-T. And you can also go and find all kinds of stuff about your home maintenance on curahome.com. That's KURAHOME.com. If you're a busy entrepreneur looking to get to the next level, head over to thedozone.com for more productivity tips, tools, and strategies. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss any other cool episodes like this one. Until next time, remember, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. What are you going to do with yours.